That disgusting fan base trash their organization is. It's because of the fans! It's because of the fans, man!
Let's get it going!
What's going on, everybody? What is up? Welcome to another edition of the Ravi&Ray podcast. Hey, man, I gotta say, dude, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Man, what a day. What a game for college football. It's unreal, man. I gotta say, like, Ravi, like, this is just awesome, man. This is just amazing. And I gotta ask you, Rav, what, dude, tell me, let's get into it, man. We got so much to get into. College football reactions. What a day for college football. We had Alabama versus Michigan, the 1 seed versus the 4, and then you also had Washington, the
Let's
second seed,
go!
versus Texas, who was the 3rd seed. Unreal, man. Unbelievable games. I wanted to ask you, Rob, can you hear me by any chance?
Yes. And just for everyone knows, we're having some technical difficulties. It's weather permitting. This weather is horrible. Our setup might be a little horrible, so we're a little sorry in advance. What Raymond is trying to get at is that the number 2 Michigan will be playing. The number 2 Washington will be playing the number 1 Michigan. Raymond, I am just so excited. I'm so thrilled to see Washington go in, dismantle, destroy Jim Harbaugh. They're gonna beat Jim Harbaugh so badly in this game that they're gonna send Jim Harbaugh back to the NFL. I gotta ask you, man. The world wants to know. Huge win for Michigan. You're a huge Michigan guy. You're a huge John Harbaugh guy. You're a big Jim Harbaugh guy. You love the Harbaugh bros like no other. We got to hear it, man. Let's hear your breakdown. How do you feel about Michigan? And how do you feel about that great win against Alabama? And thank God, no more Alabama in the finals.
Hey, I gotta say this. I'm gonna make this as quickly as I possibly can. I am a Michigan fan. You are a Washington fan. How cool is it that our teams are in? And I understand. I just want to let everybody know right now, because I'm going to be as honest. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit up here and lie. I'm not going to sit up here and say to the world, oh, I've been a Michigan fan my whole life. I have not. I have recently just got into college football. It is a damn shame. I should have been a college football fan since I was a kid. And I had 3 teams I wanted to pick. It was USC Trojans, because I've never really had a close home team. I'm not a Kings fan. I'm not a Raiders fan. I'm not a Niners fan. So the Trojans were on my mind. Michigan was on my mind, and actually the Texas A&M. Texas A&M has one of the loudest stadiums. It's unreal there. They literally are the 12th man, and over there the fans are. And for me, dude, I just fell in love with this Michigan football team. And to be honest with you, I am so excited and so happy they won. Talking about the game, Ravi, it was 27-20. My gosh, I mean, you talk about drama-filled. It had everything you wanted. Everything you wanted in a football game. You had 2 elite coaches, Jim Harbaugh versus Nick Saban. Nick Saban is the Bill Belichick of college football. No one can deny it. No one, I mean, the amount of eliteness that this Alabama team has proven year after year after year, the consistency. This is the first time I have seen in my life that I have seen an Alabama team get completely outcoached. I've never seen it. I've never seen it, man. So, like, even you could just tell, man. I mean, Jalen Milroe, like just from the very first possessions, man, that he had, like he was getting sacked. I think they had over 5 sacks, 7 sacks in this game. I mean, the defensive line was ferocious, and there was a lot of mistakes. There are some problems I do have with Michigan. Special teams was an issue in this football game. I mean, dude, I have seen. I mean, how many times, dude? There was a couple times where I was like, "Wow, like, did he really just drop that punt?" And the punter was complete ass. I don't know what his deal was. I don't know. I don't know what he was drinking the night before, but dude, he was complete ass. He couldn't even get it over. Like, if they were at the 20, punting from the 20, he couldn't even get it past the 50. Like, it was just horrible. And I got to say, there is a guy on the Alabama squad, I think, that really did it for Jalen Milroe, who was the Alabama quarterback. The snapper, his name is Seth McLaughlin. I believe that's how you say his name, Seth McLaughlin. He is a center for Alabama. During that game, he had a tremendous amount of low snaps in that football game. If they were high snaps, I think that it would have been a lot. Sorry if I'm lagging over here a little bit.
You are a little bit, unfortunately.
Dang. Well, sorry. Well, I mean, so yeah, but yeah, man, Seth McLaughlin had a horrible. He's been having a really hard time at Alabama as far as snapping the ball, anyways. So I think that really did it for them. But what really impressed me the most with this Michigan football team is that the physicality on the defensive side, the physicality on the offensive line, as well as their coaching staff outperforming Alabama. It seemed like this was like it seemed like Michigan was like Alabama beating up a team. Like, that's how it seemed to me. And what a game for J.J. McCarthy. I mean, I know he didn't have the greatest football game in the world. I will admit that. He was off. You could tell he had a lot of nerves. You could tell he was just – but when he needed to be special, when this football team needed to be special with 4 minutes left, 4 minutes and I think it was 45 seconds left or something like that in the fourth quarter, and they needed a drive and they needed a score to tie the game, they were special, and they did it. Blake Corum is a beast. I want that man on my football team. I want Blake Corum on the Ravens. I hope he goes to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm hoping. And then at the end, dude, I mean, you can't get more dramatic than that. I mean, ball's at the 3 or 4 yard line. Jalen Milroe, once again, if you look at that play, Seth McLaughlin, the center for Alabama, snapped it low. So, and he ran straight into the defense. I mean, he ran straight into the teeth. I didn't like the play call personally. I think they should have did an RPO because Jalen Milroe can run. He can run the ball extremely well using his legs. He is dynamic. But instead, I think due to the snap being so low, he just had to pick it and go. He just had to pick it up and just take off. And but yeah, Rob, I got to ask you, sir. How did you like the game, man? What did you see from that game? What were your takeaways?
For Michigan or for the Huskies?
I was gonna say for Michigan, because we watched both games.
Yeah.
Did you see anything that caught your eye in that game?
That defense is just really nasty. And you're right, Ray. You're right. Jim Harbaugh outcoached Alabama. You were 110% right on this. And this is not something that we hear traditionally, saying that someone's gonna outcoach Nick Saban, but it happened. It definitely happened. I think Michigan was the better coach team. I think the Michigan had the better defense on that team. I think the Michigan had better offense on that team. I think J.J. McCarthy had one hell of a game. I don't think we should look at stats. I think we should look at how he game managed that game. I think he did a tremendous job managing that game, not trying to force any balls anywhere. He threw the balls at the right places where he needed to be. Took a few shots here and there, which, I don't hate. And you're in a professional league. You have to take those shots, and I love every second of it. I think Michigan had an outstanding game. I love me some Washington Huskies since we were in college. Even though I didn't love college football, I still love me some Washington Huskies. I'm a little scared of that defense. I'm a little scared of that coaching staff going into Monday. Um, if if what's going to determine that game, honestly, is Jim Harbaugh versus Michael Penix and that offense. And Michael Penix had won a hell of a game for the Washington Huskies. He was balling out of his mind. He was throwing dimes left and right. A lot of people are
Oh yeah.
saying, yes, he did all that, but let's be cautious. You know what? Before we get into the Huskies, Ray, can we give some love to Blake Corum, the running back for Michigan? He balled out of his damn mind. If there was a single player you asked me to tell me who won them the game, it's Blake Corum.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, Blake Corum definitely won them this football game. I mean, the amount of I mean, he was spectacular, man. He was amazing. You can tell he was the bell cow for the team. He was wonderful. He was absolutely wonderful. And Ravi, I gotta ask you, man. Since we kind of are on the Michigan, before we kind of get into the Huskies and the Texas game, which was so great and was so good, man, there's been a lot of talk about this Michigan football team. There's been a lot of adversity for this football team. I got to be honest with you, it was my first year being a Michigan fan, and I watched, obviously, life gets in the way. I'm not able to watch every single game, but I watched at least 70% of the games. And I guess it was a horrible time for me to be a Michigan fan because they got accused of stealing, like the stealing signs. And I'm like, oh, they got accused of cheating and all these things.
Stealing signs? I missed
so
all that. I missed all that.
Oh, you missed that?
No,
yeah,
break it down,
Jim Harbaugh. So Jim Harbaugh got suspended the last 3 games of the season, and he's probably going to be the College Football Association is looking to probably go down, not go down, but basically lay the smackdown on him this next year. So they might. I think they're still probably gonna investigate it. I don't know if they are or not. I'm sure they will. They're it's kind of up in the air. That's why Jim Harbaugh may leave too. There's a lot of demand for him, and but yes, just going back on that. I guess they started winning football games, a lot of football games like these last 3 years. They started kind of just gaining more traction, and you can see a coach is if they're, say, Ohio State's they're doing hand signals or whatever. And Michigan's they can read what they're doing. So the defensive coordinator's like changing the play, telling his players hey, I don't know how you can. I don't really know, to be honest. It's kind of hard to blame Harbaugh for that, but they have to blame Harbaugh because he's the coach, right? So, but yeah, I mean, he got suspended in the last 3 games, and they versed really hard opponents. They versed Ohio State, who is their rivals. They were undefeated, if I'm not mistaken, at the time. And they were both, I want to say 10 or 11, 12-0 or something like that. And Michigan beat them. Michigan went on the road against Iowa. They beat them. Michigan also versed, I forgot the other football team. I apologize, but they versed some really hard opponents without Jim Harbaugh even in the lineup. He couldn't even be on the field. And they all won those games. That team rallied and they won every single football game for him. And and I got to ask you, Rob, like I said, since we kind of are on this Michigan topic, Jim Harbaugh is making a lot of noise. He is making a ton of noise right now on where he's going to go. Supposedly he hired an agent. His name is Don Yee. For those who don't know who Don Yee is, Don Yee actually represented. He was an NFL agent for Tom Brady. So this man has a ton of connections inside the NFL, and I got to be honest with you, Rob. I would love to get your I would love to hear where you think Jim Harbaugh may go.
Don Yee is very, very well known for being Tom Brady's agent, but he's also very, very well known of being in good standings with the Las Vegas Raiders. I think Jim Harbaugh next year, 2024, will be the coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. And
Wow.
I really honestly do. If the Vegas Raiders want to stop sucking, if they want to finally break the cycle of, oh, hell yeah, we got a new head coach, we're this, we're that, and then completely just shitting the bed Amber Heard style on the first few games and then firing their head coach and then going on to win a few games, which they shouldn't win, like against the Kansas City Chiefs, like they just did. And then next year, and then this year again, the Raiders fans like, oh, next year's our year. We're Antonio Pierce this, Antonio Pierce that, blah blah blah. Read me a story because I've heard this story over and over and over and over again. If the Las Vegas Raiders want to stop sucking in the future, they need to go out. They need to pay Jim Harbaugh a shit. I'm sorry, Jim Harbaugh, right? I always get the Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh, yeah.
They need to pay Jim Harbaugh a shit ton of money. Get this man on as your next head coach because Antonio Pierce will be fired middle of next season if he's your head coach.
Dude, that's so crazy that you said that because I'm thinking the same freaking thing. All these, dude, I have gone on Facebook and I've seen these delusional Raider fans where they're like
Completely.
AP over Jim Harbaugh. You know, I think it's Antonio Pierce, right? His name is Antonio Pierce.
AP
Pierce, over Jim Harbaugh. And I'm like, this is the reason why you guys fucking suck. This is the reason why you guys are trash. Like, think about it. Like, you have a guy who's not even proven. Like, I get it. The team's playing hard for him. And I understand that. But who the hell wouldn't? Your last head coach, Josh McDaniels, was complete ass. Like, who the hell wouldn't try to, like, have this guy? And I get it, man. He's all for the players and all that stuff. And I think he should stay with the football team. I think he should stay with I think he should stay with this organization and help with this, with the players, since the players love him so much. Stay with them. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Antonio Pierce, but come on, give me a break. Jim Harbaugh is way better. He's so much more proven as a head coach. But I got somewhere I think he's going to go. Would you like to know, sir?
I would love to know because I thought we were both going to agree on the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh my God. Are you really going to say it? Let me hear it. Where is he going?
He is going. I think it's up to two teams, man. I really do. It's gonna be the Los Angeles Chargers. I think it's gonna be two teams. I said not one, I said two teams. I really believe it's gonna come down to this. The Los Angeles Chargers, who I think would Ravi, there's something about that football team that's clearly missing something. Do you think if Jim Harbaugh had could go to that organization, you think that he could lead Herbert can lead them to a Super Bowl under Jim Harbaugh's regime?
I think within a few years they can definitely lead them to the Super Bowl. I 110% agree. They're very talented. They're a little bit older. They need to get some a little bit more younger pieces, but I do believe that they can. Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh, they will be in the Super Bowl at one point.
And the other team is your team, Rob.
Let's go!
I fucking serious, dude. I just look, Bill Belichick is gonna go, and Robert Kraft has already shown he's willing to give the head coach to basically be the GM, which is what Jim Harbaugh is going to do. Jim Harbaugh is probably going to be the coach, and he's probably going to be the GM. However, the difference is that I feel, this is just how I feel that your guys' offense is comparing you guys to the Chargers, right? Because I said those are the two teams I think he's going to go to.
Yeah.
Chargers have a better offense. You guys have a better defense. I really believe that. I don't know what's going on with the LH. Like, I don't think Derwin James Jr., I think he's pretty overrated kind of guy. I think Kenneth Murray Jr. is pretty overrated. Khalil Mack is old. He's not the same guy he used to be. Joey Bosa is hella overrated. Joey Bosa is the most overrated player I've ever seen. He's so much so, dude. Obviously, that you guys traded a corner to him. Then you guys got him back, right?
J.C. Jackson, he went out in free agency, signed with the Chargers, and we got him back.
And it was horrible. He was horrible, terrible there, trash there. So yeah, dude, like I just don't see anything special about that team. Like from a defensive standpoint, from an offensive standpoint, sure, I can see some player. Keenan Allen's fantastic, can't go wrong with him.
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams, but he's always injured, always injured. But if he can stay healthy, man, they got something. You know, you can't go wrong with Austin Eckler, but he's getting older. But man, look at the Patriots, dude. They have a good defense. They got a good organization. All they need is just a better offense. And I think Harbaugh can really help with that. Harbaugh loves to run the ball. He loves to be physical, and he loves his defense. And I think that's the key to success in the NFL, man, is having a good defense, having a good head coach, having a good running game can get you very, very far in this game.
Oh yeah.
And what else can you ask for? You know, he'll get his number one quarterback. I get it. It may not be Caleb Williams, but if you guys did trade up, I mean, really, let's be honest here. What would be the draft value for trading up for 2 spots?
How about we trade down and we get the greatest Michigan quarterback to ever live, J.J. McCarthy, for Jim Harbaugh?
That could possibly, dude. If that happened, man, that would be nuts, dude. I mean, that would be absolutely insane if that happened. I could see it happening. I just, and I can't wait to talk about the quarterbacks. I'll save all my quarterback talk for later because we are going to be talking about the quarterbacks. But I kind of just transitioning. So, Ravi, so you're saying you think that the Las Vegas Raiders are going to get Jim Harbaugh? I mean, this is huge. I mean, for all the Raider fans, even the delusional ones,
there's a lot.
I mean, you gotta admit, there's a lot. There's a lot. I mean, let me ask you this, man. For all the Raider fans, and just asking you this question: if he goes, let's say he goes, he's announced, Jim Harbaugh is head coach of the Raiders. Do you think that this football team? How many years do you think this football team it would take for them to go, like, to be considered like a playoff football team, and then considered, oh my God, like these guys could go to the Super Bowl? Like this is for real.
A playoff team or a Super
playoff
Bowl
team? How many? Playoff and Super Bowl team. How about that?
A playoff
We'll start
team.
With playoff first.
A playoff team, and they are one Jim Harbaugh and one decent quarterback away. Honestly.
Really?
I do
really?
think
You
so.
really think so?
I think the Raiders have some great pieces. I mean, they're really good on defense. Max Crosby's really good. I can't really name their defensive players, but they've been doing great, honestly. They need a little bit of O-line help outside of Colton Miller. They need some O-line help. They got Michael Mayer. They got Devontae Adams. They got Jacoby Myers. They got Trey Tucker who's coming along. They got Hunter Renfrow. Josh Jacobs. I would let Josh Jacobs walk. I think he's a little overhyped. He had a decent rookie season. He had a great last season on contract year. You have to be very careful when you pay these players to see, is this a consistent thing or is this a one-hit wonder type of thing? Josh Jacobs was a one-hit wonder type of thing. His greatest season was last season, for sure, and he's gone back to the old Josh Jacobs. He's not hitting holes, nothing like that. They got to let go of Josh Jacobs. They need to get a decent quarterback, and they need to take Blake Corum in the 2nd to 3rd round.
So what would you do with Aiden O'Connell?
He needs to go on the bench. Dude, how can you...
Yeah, back up.
How can you... What game was it, right? They just played it. It wasn't the Colts. It was the one right before the Colts. Was it I think it was the Chiefs game. How do you win a game when your last completion was 2 minutes left in the first quarter? That was his last completion, and the Vegas Raiders found a way to win. The team is carrying Aiden O'Connell. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers is carrying Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell is a trash quarterback. He might be a 2nd string, some places maybe even a 3rd string type of quarterback. I am not a fan of Aiden O'Connell by any means.
Yeah, and I honestly, I love your take on Aiden O'Connell, and I really love your take about Josh Jacobs, that they got to let him go.
Yeah.
Tell me this doesn't, if Jim Harbaugh goes there, tell me it doesn't smell like a Blake Corum kind of place.
Oh yeah, it
like,
does.
I feel like Blake Corum would be their leading rusher, and I think he would do an excellent job.
Can I ask you a question? It just popped in my head. I'm so sorry to cut you off. Jim Harbaugh, next coach for the Vegas Raiders. First round, JJ McCarthy. Second round, Blake Corum. Where do they go from here, Ray? Are they a playoff? Are they a Super Bowl contending team? Where are they at?
Oh, man.
That's a tough one. It's a really tough one because
It's
they're
tough.
they're
It's tough.
rookies on a team of veterans, on a team of inconsistency, on a team of a trash fan base. So I know it's a tough one.
Oh man. Um. Yeah. If that happened, wow. Yeah. I mean, mark 'em in the playoffs. Not that year. I'm not gonna go as far as saying that year because
Uh-huh.
let's be honest. Like, you gotta work it up a little bit. You gotta. I mean, Jim Harbaugh, he's good at that though. He's so good at just coming in and transforming everything, just like I did in Michigan. I think it'll be the same thing like Michigan. Give him like 3 years. Give him like 3, 4 years. You know what I mean? And I think you will see like the Harbaugh way and going with the Raiders if he goes. I'm sorry. I think you're 100% right. Damn, Rob, you might have convinced me, dude. He might go to the Raiders. Like, I know I'm trying to put New
So much
England out
sense.
there. I'm just trying to think, dude, like, okay, like, let's be real here. Money's not an issue. Like, all the owners are billionaires. Let's be real here. Like, these guys are billionaires. Like, come on. Like, they can pay anybody.
Mhm.
Obviously, he's not going to Carolina. He's not going to Arizona because those teams are horrible. But the New England Patriots have been the standard for the National Football League for so long. How could you not be attracted to that as a head coach? Like, I get it, he has ties to the Raiders, but I really would like to ask you, do you think that you guys have a chance? Do you think Robert Kraft is willing to? Because you guys got to move on from Belichick. I'm assuming you guys are.
We
And
don't
if you
have to.
are, like, have you heard of any, like, new, have you, obviously you would love to welcome Jim Harbaugh, but do you think that's something that Robert Kraft would be willing to do?
I don't think that it's set in stone, Ray. Like everybody is thinking that Rob Bill Belichick is going to be gone next year. I don't think it's set in stone. I think it's a possibility that he's gone next year, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's a certain thing. To be honest with you, I think there's a good chance. I'd say it's a coin flip. To be very honest with you, I think if you have to be very careful on what you hear about on the media about the Patriots because all fan bases hates the Patriots, rightfully so. I understand.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about it. I completely understand why everybody hates the Patriots, and I've accepted that. I've grown to accept that. But when Patriots reports come out, how many times is it that you hear one thing and it's the complete opposite? It happens way too often.
Yeah.
A lot of people like
That's
to
so true.
credit hate on the Patriots. A lot of people like to, credit dysfunction on the Patriots, saying that they're all dysfunctional, that this going in the locker room, that, this, and people are saying that Bill Belichick is not connecting with the players and this and that. Kendrick Bourne just tweeted I believe it was Jabril Pepper's tweet. I don't quote. It was. I can't remember whose tweet exactly where he retweeted, and he says, "Tell them to come re-sign me." Players want to stay on this team because of Bill Belichick. The players
Yeah.
love Bill Belichick. No matter how much the media tries to tear it down, Bill Belichick is still a good guy. He's not. He hates the media. Who likes the media? Let's be honest. Who the hell likes the media? Nobody likes the media. Bill Belichick
True.
just straight up with the media. He's like, "You guys are not going to get shit out of me. What you guys will see, it will be the product on the field on Sunday." And that's how he's always
Yeah.
been for his entire career, and I respect it for never changing. Um, Going back to all that from your point, I think there's still a good chance that Bill Belichick can still be the head coach for the New England Patriots going into 2024. And I would not be completely upset at that, to be very honest with you.
I mean, how could you? I mean, how could you be upset? I mean, he's considered basically the GOAT. I mean,
Yeah.
who wouldn't want to have that that quality of a head coach on your football team? I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer, you know? So but kind of fasting things forward, I gotta ask you, Rob, your Washington Huskies look really good. Washington Huskies versus the first Texas, man. Wow. I mean, what a game that was. It was unbelievable. I got to admit that quarterback for Washington is really good, dude. He's really good. He's making a statement.
Mm-hmm.
that if I'm not mistaken, dude, he was around the top 5, top 6, 7 ranked quarterback coming out of college right now. And that's fucking bullshit. I'm sorry, dude. That's a nothing but BS. This kid has had a spectacular season. If you look at his throwing mechanics, it's a little awkward. It is a little awkward. It's a little weird. Maybe because he is a left-handed thrower, but just even his release of the ball. But when he throws it, it's a freaking rocket, dude. It's a rocket in its pinpoint accuracy. And he's been doing that. In the beginning of the season, his accuracy was a little bit off, but you could tell as the season progressed, the confidence, you could see that he's like transforming, dude, into this
Mm-hmm.
quarterback where you're just like, damn, okay, here we go. And also, Washington has, I consider them having the best offensive line in all of college football. I mean, their offensive line is nasty, dude. The
Mm-hmm.
defense, the defense is a little bit of a worry. I mean, they did let up over 30 plus points against a good Texas team who has a great offense. I'm not going to have any shade towards Texas, but you know, damn, what a game it's going to be next week, man. Next week, Monday, Rob, it is going to be on. I mean, I expect fireworks. I expect this to be a great football game from head to toe. I expect Michael Penix to literally spread this Michigan defense and to try to pick them apart. And I expect this Michigan defense to only rush 4 and have that great offensive line go against that great defensive line and drop all those corners back, because you have to on this offense. This offense is so dynamic. They could beat you in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I got to ask you, Rob, I mean, what a freaking performance, dude. I mean, what a performance. And even at the end, I forgot to mention, dude, the most dramatic thing that happened at the end, for those who didn't watch, I think there was like a minute left. They had all Washington had to do was kneel the ball. All they had to do was kneel the ball,
Oh, the injury,
and they
yeah,
didn't. And the injury happened, and it was an injury timeout. Texas punts the ball back to I'm sorry, Washington Washington
yeah.
punts the ball back to Texas. Texas drives all the way. They're at like the 15-yard line, and
Mm-hmm.
Quinnen, I think his last name is
Yours,
Ewers.
yeah.
Ewers, horrible with names. I am notorious for it, but Quinnen Ewers he had it, dude. But what a great play by that corner, just to slap that ball right out of where there was no flags. You couldn't do anything about it. The guy caught the ball, slapped it right out of his hands. And what a statement, dude. But Washington almost let up. Probably might have been one of the worst. If they lost that game, dude, it would have been one of the worst, like,
Heartbreak.
performances,
Mm-hmm.
the most, like, it would have been unreal if that happened. But thank goodness it didn't, because our teams are in the national championship this year, and I'm so excited to watch it with you, man. I gotta ask you, dude, how proud are you of your football team, dude, of your college football team to be in the freaking national championship?
I wish that I got into college football back when you were telling me to get into college football. I wish I could have seen more of the progression going on with Michael Penix, but it's coming draft time, right? We're what, like 3.5 months away from the draft, somewhere around there. I mean, not less than 4 months for sure. We're getting
Yeah.
time. So now it's the time to start breaking down these guys. And when I break down Michael Penix and his progression that he's gone through this year, it's just outstanding. But I'm gonna throw this back on to you a little bit here in just a second after I break down Washington, just because I want to get your thoughts on Michael Penix himself. But I think that these Huskies, their offense was outstanding, throwing up 37 points. I think after the first 2 drives, I think I texted you this game's going to 70 points, and we were at 68. We were right there. We were right
Right
there.
there.
The game was almost at that 70 marker. We knew it was going to be an offensive onslaught. Let's give some credit where credit's due. Texas made Washington sweat a little bit, honestly,
He
especially
did.
towards the end. And they were coming back. They were coming back strong. It felt like things were getting right for Texas to come back and make that game winning tie, make that game winning extra point to go ahead and beat Washington with zeros on the clock. It was very possible. But the defense held strong, thank God, towards the end, because that injury, it was a leg injury and it looked very gruesome. Guy was screaming in pain and agony. So, but when you look at that, Ray, it goes back to coaching. You think Jim Harbaugh would have
Yeah.
ran that ball? Jim Harbaugh would
No.
not have ran that ball. Jim Harbaugh is smart enough to know you don't even have to be that smart. Us fans were saying kneel the ball. The announcers were saying kneel the
Nail the
ball. He would
ball.
have never been in that situation to begin with. But whatever happened, happened. This is football. This is what happens. Injuries happen, and crazy stuff like this happens. But let's talk about Michael Penix. Michael
Yeah.
Penix is a baller. He does not deserve to be on Mel Kiper's number 5 board. I'm sorry, Ray. I think he deserves to be a little ahead of JJ McCarthy. I think he needs to be at
Yes.
least the third or fourth quarterback on there. I understand Caleb Williams, Drake May, unseparable, generational talent. Okay, keep them 1 and 2. I think Michael Penix made a case last night, 430 yards. I forget how many touchdowns he threw. I believe it was 2 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. No picks. He just had one hell of a game. 3 rushes,
Hell
31
of a game.
yards. But I gotta ask you real quick, Ray.
Yeah.
I'm gushing on Michael Penix, but there's a lot of people that are saying, let's not be fooled. This is college football. Mac Jones threw for over 4,000 yards, a shit ton of touchdowns, and like 4 or 6 interceptions with Alabama. And he was the number 1 pick in the 15th overall, possibly the worst quarterback in that draft class right there, right? Besides Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Is Michael Penix, is he a little boosted because of all the talent that they have on there? You just said they have a great offensive line, maybe a top tier, maybe the top offensive line. They have a receiver who should be going right behind. Oh my God, Marvin Harrison. What's his name? I'm blanking on his name. I'm so sorry.
Marvin
Odunze?
Harrison is. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I said, I know who
Odunze?
exactly you're talking about. Is his last name Odunze? I have a
Yeah.
really hard time with his last name. I
I
really
think
do.
I think the pronunciation is Dunze. And then
Yeah.
also a receiver that I've watched previously. I think Jalen Polk is a really good receiver, to be honest with you too. Um,
Oh,
top offensive
fantastic.
line. I gotta ask you, Ray, do you think that Michael Penix can translate this into the NFL?
Man, it is yeah, hey, I'm sorry, and I apologize, Rob, on that wide receiver, Rome Odunze, he had 6 receptions for 125 yards. He was
Wow.
averaging 20.83 yards per catch, and his longest was that 52-yard catch that he had. And I think that guy, I think his name is Jalen Polk,
Polk, yeah.
Polk. He's
Mhm.
really good too. He had
Oh
5
yeah.
receptions for 122 yards, 24.4
Wow.
average per catch, and his longest was that 77-yard bomb
Wow.
that Penix threw. What a beautiful throw. I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, it is so true that systems make quarterbacks. So man, do you want me to say where I think he's going to go for
Yeah.
later? Or do you want me to let you know? Because I'll tell you where he's going to go.
Let's save it for later because we do have top 5 quarterbacks in the upcoming NFL draft coming up here shortly, and where they're going to go. So let's save it for that.
Yeah. Okay, for sure. But dude, I think if he goes to the right system, the right place, he can thrive. He will be an absolute monster. But let's say he goes to I'm just trying to think of a bad team, man. Let's say he goes to Carolina. I know Carolina already has a quarterback. I'm just saying ifs and what's or buts. Say he goes there. Um, I just don't think he's gonna thrive. I just don't. I like I said, if he went to New England, that would be fantastic. But you guys got to get wide receivers for him. You guys got to give him some help. He can't just do it all by himself. And I think that's what happened with Mac Jones. Mac Jones had so much talent around him from the offensive line. I mean, he had a Heisman-winning wide receiver, Devontae Smith, who's on the Eagles.
And Jalen
He
Waddle,
had Jalen Waddle. He
Najee
also
Harris,
had Henry Ruggs. Remember
Najee
Henry
Harris.
Ruggs is in prison
Oh
now?
yeah, oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
Najee
that's
Harris.
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
dude, you name it, dude. He had everybody around him. So like, if Mac Jones had that talent around him in the NFL, I think he would have had a lot better of I think he would have been a better quarterback, but I think it was both ways, dude. Mac Jones he just didn't have it, man. It just wasn't meant to be in New England for him. And maybe he has another chance somewhere else, dude. But him in New England, but Michael Penix, I think he has to be in the right situation. He has to be in the right situation, and also it might be beneficial for him. I know it's bad. I know why. I know quarterbacks want to be in the first round, but maybe it might be beneficial for him to be a second rounder. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
maybe so, because look at, dude, all the teams that are going to pass on him, maybe he might go into a good organization down that list. You know what I mean? In the second round, maybe it might be a mid to late second rounder,
Look
and
what
he might
happened to
go to a good
Lamar.
organization.
Sorry to cut you off. Look what happened to Lamar. The Baltimore Ravens traded back in. Best thing that could have happened to Lamar.
Yeah, and that could do the same thing for Michael Penix, man. I mean, dude, I think Michael Penix's rise, I mean, his stock is definitely rising. There's no doubt about it. This kid can ball. I love his game, and it is so sad that he was a runner-up for the Heisman, which is basically an MVP in the NFL, but in college football they call it the Heisman. He should have won it, dude. He had a really good statement to win it this year. He had all the numbers, he had all the production. What a season. And I am so the sky's the limit for that kid, man. I really believe so.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you. And honestly, we've pushed 41 minutes into just talking about college
It's
football.
crazy.
And we're
It's
going to
unreal.
circle back on college football here shortly, Ray. But let's just
Yeah.
move it along a little bit, or else we can go about 3-4 hours talking about college football. To be honest with you. But I gotta ask you, I love you repping your Baltimore Ravens gear. And for those who are wondering, we are going into this week, Ray, all tied up. My record, your record, we are all the same. The loser wears the winner's jersey. And it's all going to come down to this Friday. Nobody wants to miss this because Raymond's going to look great in this jersey, to be honest. I keep wearing it just so he can wear this Tom Brady jersey. Raymond, I got to ask you, though, to get them away from the New England Patriots. Lamar Jackson, 5 touchdowns, absolutely shredded the Miami Dolphins. Did he lock up that MVP, Ray?
Before I say that, first and foremost, you should be ahead of me by 1 game. I wanna thank the referee for the Lions, for the Cowboys. I forgot his name, Brett something, who was actually, want to let everybody know, he's that same guy who called that horrible play is actually going to be calling the game, refereeing the game for the Ravens and Steelers this upcoming Saturday.
Oh, perfect.
But yeah, so technically, dude, you should be a game ahead of me, but thank you to that referee for helping me out. I tipped him a little bit of money, so he definitely
that sounds like you.
But dude, Lamar Jackson, he's got it locked up. He's got it locked up, dude. I look, and what really upsets me, what really pisses me off is that you have guys like Richard Sherman, who is on Undisputed, saying that he is not the MVP. He would give his vote to Christian McCaffrey, who didn't even really have that great of a game against the Cardinals. I think they versed the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think he got injured.
And
he got injured in that game.
He got injured, and I understand that, and I get that, but that has to hurt your draft stock, your MVP stock a little bit. I know injuries happen, things happen, and they're probably not even going to play him next game. So that's how we ended the season. Like, think about it. Like, and I understand Lamar's not the top. I don't even think he's even the top I don't think in any category except for maybe rushing the football, he's leading. And and I understand from Richard Sherman's perspective, like, hey, like, stats matter. But in this case, dude, like, look at the fucking eyeball test. Like, look at what your eyes are seeing. This guy literally versed the hardest competition in all of football. I mean, with the Jags, starting from the Jacksonville Jaguars, who we all thought were legit at the time. We all thought they were legit. He goes into their house, spanks them. He goes in right that next game, goes into Niners Stadium, who everybody thought they were going to lose. Let's be real here. Everybody thought the Ravens were going to lose that football game. Goes in there, dominates. Then he goes in versus the freaking Miami Dolphins, dominates. Like, what more can you ask this guy to do? And everybody kept saying, oh, the stats, the stats, the stats. Well, let me tell you this stat: 18 for 21, 5 touchdowns, a perfect passer rating. How about that for a freaking stat?
Hell
300 and what, 25 yards or something like that? 15, 25 yards he threw. How about that for a stat? So get that stuff out of here, man. This guy, he I don't think he's gonna be. He may not be unanimous like he was last time, but I think he will be the MVP. I think he'll lock it up, man. I think it's completely locked up. Rob, I gotta ask you, dude. What do you think? Do you think he locked up the MVP?
You know what, Raymond? I really hope you don't hop off this podcast and never talk to me again. But I think Christian McCaffrey does have a good argument to make. I don't think whoever wins this will be unanimous. And I know you hate when Richard Sherman brings up stats, Ray. But just thinking about it, a guy that threw 24 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, less than 4,000 yards, I think it's okay. Let me back up. Okay. When I think most valuable player, MVP means different things to different people, right? What it means to me might be different what it means to you. For me, what it means, let's take this guy and take him out of this team. Where will the team be now? Right? That's what MVP means to me. For me, I think if you take Lamar Jackson out of Baltimore, they have one of the best defenses, one of the best coaches right now. Their offense is playing pretty good right now with no run game. I will give them that. They don't really have much of a running game. Keaton Mitchell got hurt. J.K. Dobbins got hurt. I understand all that. But when you take Christian McCaffrey out of Brock Purdy's life, out of Deebo Samuel's life, out of George Kittle's life, and you put in someone like Elijah Mitchell on there, I think the Ravens can win more games without Lamar than I think the San Francisco 49ers can win games without Christian McCaffrey. And that is the only reason why I say that I think Christian McCaffrey just has a little bit of a slight hair touch over that. Going to the stats wise, 3,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. It is hard. I mean, I know you hate when Richard Sherman says that, and Richard Sherman makes some idiotic, quotes sometimes, honestly. But then when you transform the stats into Christian McCaffrey, almost 1,500 yards rushing, and almost another 600 yards passing. He's at over 2,000 scrimmage yards, 21 touchdowns. He has almost the same amount of touchdowns as Lamar does this season. I think Christian McCaffrey does and deserves to be the MVP this year. And not to take anything away from Lamar. I'm not taking anything away from Lamar. I definitely think he deserves to get MVP votes this season. But I don't think it'll be enough when you look at someone like Christian McCaffrey and what he means to the San Francisco 49ers. Because if you take CMC out of that, Brock Purdy is a 7th-round quarterback again. He's going to be complete hot garbage again.
Yeah, and and I can agree. Look, man, I can agree with it. I can agree with your statement. I can see 100% where you're coming from. I really can. I 100% can. I just think, as far as a stat, and I apologize, I don't have my cell phone on me, but I believe there was a stat with Brock, because Brock Purdy was an MVP candidate, Christian McCaffrey was an MVP candidate, Tyreek Hill was an MVP candidate, Tua Tagovailoa was an MVP candidate. All 4 of those guys versus Lamar. Lamar has 613 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. All 4 of those guys I mentioned, they had a combined 713 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 7 turnovers in those last games. In the last 2 games.
Yeah, but I think what you're going off, Ray, is what Lamar has done recently. If you take the whole season,
that's true.
If you take the whole
that's
season,
the problem. Yeah,
Christian McCaffrey has been consistent for the Niners this entire season, and I think that's where I think Lamar has all the hype right now because he's just absolutely shredding teams that shouldn't be shredded. He shredded the damn Niners, who were the locked up number 1 NFC team. He shredded the damn Dolphins, who was could have been, but isn't because of LJ8, could have been the number 1 seed in the AFC. But LJ8 just went in, dropped 5 touchdowns, and only missed 3 passes in that entire game. I totally see your argument on why Lamar deserves to be the MVP, and I'm with you. You should definitely get some votes. But I think just on a consistency standpoint, how Christian McCaffrey has been from week 1 to now, they're both going to miss the next game for different reasons. Lamar's just probably going to sit out, which I want to talk to you about just here in a second. Lamar's probably going to sit out for injury's sake, which I understand. You don't want to make sure he doesn't have to use the bathroom during the middle of the game. I understand. And then you're going to have Christian McCaffrey, who's actually hurt, could play, but they're going to sit him out for precautionary. I think they're both going to miss next game. This is it for them. And for that, I think Christian McCaffrey just has my little slight edge for the consistency as well.
And you know what's crazy too? Here's the reason. Here's another reason why I'm that I feel when Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy went head to head, Brock Purdy was the favorite, right? In terms of Las Vegas, like the sports betting, right?
Yeah.
I think if I'm not mistaken, Lamar is like minus like 2,000. Like everybody else is like plus. Like he has separated himself, like to the odds makers. They have separated him as the number 1 favorite, the number 1 guy. Christian McCaffrey, I think he slid down. He slid down on the charts a little bit. I don't know, man. It's going to be really interesting. They announced this stuff during the like the MVP during like the award ceremony, right? Something like that.
I think closer to the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
Closer to the Super Bowl. Yeah. So I'm just very fascinated to see. And honestly, dude, like if Lamar gets it, to be honest with you, man, and I'm gonna be as real as I can be. I hope he gets it. Look, I'm a huge Lamar. You know me, man. I've been repping this guy, dude, since day freaking 1, man. And like I really have, dude. And I hope he gets it. If he doesn't, honestly, I don't even really care. I'll be real. I am so focused on this team. I don't think he gives a shit either. I think that this football team is so focused on winning a Super Bowl. I don't think he gives a shit, dude. I don't think he cares. And quite frankly, I don't think I really care either. I mean, don't get me wrong. It would be really nice to see him win one. The second one. If he does, he's in some really elite category. I mean, damn, you're talking about Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. I know Rodgers won it 4 times, but dude, Lamar's 26 and he's already like
2 times. If he wins 2 times,
he wins 2 times. I mean, that's pretty wild, dude, right? So, and if he wins the Super Bowl, dude, holy shit. I mean, you're talking about some elite company that he will be in. And I hope he wins it, man, but you have a great case. And I'm not going to disagree with you. If Christian McCaffrey wins it, hey, all power to that man, because he deserves it too. I'm not going to sit here and say he doesn't deserve it. But the only disagreement I have with you is I think if you take Christian McCaffrey out of that Niners team, you still have Debo, you still have Kittle, you still have Juszczyk, you still have Trent Williams, you still have Ayuk, you still have that Power 5, and they will win games. Now, if you take Lamar out, I'm sorry, you ain't winning no games. They have already proven that. They've proven it with Tyler Huntley, and they couldn't do it. So, I mean, how many games have we lost without him? You know, like I think 2 years ago or a year ago, we were like the number 1 seed. Lamar gets injured of all of December. We lost every game, dude. We lost every single football game without him. Like, I think Christian McCaffrey is that difference maker. I think his stats, you can't go wrong with his stats. Like you said, dude, he's got so many scrimmage yards, so many touchdowns. I have no hate on Christian McCaffrey. I really don't. He's a wonderful player. I wish the Ravens got him. Damn, I wish the Ravens had him. He's a wonderful player, man. He's so amazing to watch. So I have no quarrel with him. I have no qualms, dude. It's just, hey, if he gets it, that's great for him, dude. That's great for him.
That was honestly a really fun debate. One of the most fun I've had with you debating on something, because realistically, I feel like this is a coin flip type of situation. I think both these guys. I honestly think both these guys deserve this award. To be honest with you, I wish there was a way both these guys can get the award. What was that?
No, you know what I loved about this debate with you, dude? It's just the fact that I feel like the respect is on both ends. Like like I said, there's no disrespect to Christian McCaffrey. I would be very upset if Brock Purdy won.
Oh,
I'd be very upset. I'd be very upset if Tua Tagovailoa won.
I think I'd be I think I'd even be more. I think I'd even be upset if Tyreek won at this point because I think Tyreek
But
had a great season. He had a great season, but he didn't have a better season than Lamar and Christian McCaffrey to me.
I'm just saying, if Tyreek balls out for like 200 or 300 yards this next game against the Bills, just say it.
Yeah,
He will have what, 2,000 yards?
that 240 some odd yards, I believe it is 238, 240 something yards.
Say he gets that against the Bills. Just saying, which he could do.
He could.
If he
Or
does it,
could
Rob,
win this fight.
I'll be real with you. I think I'd give it to Tyreek.
If he makes 2K, I could see him
Come
having
on,
a strong
dude.
case.
I don't think it's been done since what, Calvin?
Yeah.
Calvin, I think he would break Calvin Johnson's record, right?
And also, Ray, it's
Or
like
no?
I think he does because I think Calvin was in the 19th. I don't think anyone's ever hit
Yeah.
2K. And also, Ray, it kind of goes back to what I said earlier: is if we take Tyreek Hill out of that offense, where's the offense now? The offense will still be good, but they will never be as great as they were with Tyreek Hill. So I think for me, that's what MVP stands for: is taking this player out. What does that do to the team? Because that's how valuable this player is to that team. You know, so
It's so true.
I could
It's
see
so
your
true.
case. I could see your case on that. And I gotta ask you now, Ray. This is the question. I texted this to you, but I didn't want to hear it. I told you I don't want to hear it. I want to hear it on the podcast because I'm nervous. I'm not even a Baltimore Ravens fan. I've rooted against Baltimore so many damn times in my life. They were probably one of the top Patriots rival of in the last 2 decades. But even it makes me nervous. Week 18, your starters are not going to play. Then you get a bye week. Your starters are not going to play. Then they come back in the divisional round. Your players are going to have 2 weeks off. They're going to have about 3 weeks till they touch the field again on a team that's red hot and clicking at the right time, where they had some struggles to work out in the beginning, but they worked it out. And now they're finally clicking. Does this bring down their flame a little bit? Will they be a little bit cooler in the playoffs? Are we going to see a different Lamar Jackson? Maybe someone who's not so consistent in the playoffs because he's had so many time off. I really want to hear it from you, Ray, because we've seen in the past that teams that do this, they sit their players, then they have a bye week, then they come back, and they're a whole different team. They're not clicking, they're not connecting, they're arguing with each other. You're supposed to go this route. Quarterback's like, no, you're supposed to go over here. I gotta ask you, do you think this will happen to the Baltimore Ravens?
I will be honest with you. I think you rest your starters. You rest them. Dude. I'm. Call me crazy. I would rather lose a football game in the divisional round knowing that all my players are healthy versus me going into the divisional round saying, "Damn, I wish I should have sat him."
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say Lamar gets hurt, right, against the Steelers, gets injured.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. It's done. Roquan Smith gets injured. Damn, what a big blow to the defense, right? Could affect the whole game, right?
Quarterback of the defense.
You know, Zay gets hurt, or Odell gets hurt, or 2 corners go down. Something happens. I mean, it's football. It's injuries are gonna happen regardless whether you like them or not. It's gonna happen. I would do this. A lot of people say, hey, maybe he plays a half. Maybe he just plays for the first 2 quarters. If anything, I would give him the most I would give him is 1 series.
Mm-hmm.
You got 1 series, dude. Go and score a touchdown. You got one series. That's it. This team only has 1 series.
Yeah.
You don't make it, okay, you just sit down. That's it. You're good.
Don't run the ball. Don't run the ball. Yeah.
Just that's it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think you sit him. I know a lot of people are going to compare everything to 2019 when they did that. It's kind of weird because we had the Steelers the last game too that year. In 2019, it's kind of weird. But let's be real here, man. This is a different football team. This is a different football team. All the players on that team are basically not even on this football team anymore. Mm-hmm. This defense is way better than that 2019 defense, in my opinion. This offense, this Lamar Jackson in 2019 ran the ball so efficiently well. Mm-hmm. He was more of a runner, and his throwing mechanics And I will admit with you, Rob, as much as critical I am of Lamar, and you know me, I'm a huge Lamar, fan and all that stuff. You got to admit, dude, he's throwing the ball a lot better he is now than he did in 2019. So
Yeah.
that is something that I feel that you should sit him. And I got to ask you, you're a New England Patriot fan. Let's be real here, dude. How many times have you guys gotten the number 1 seed? Many, many,
Many
many,
times.
many times.
Yeah.
And how many times have I saw your team sit out in the bye? You guys come back in the divisional round and you guys won. How many Super Bowls have you guys won? Like, come on. Like, I think that to me, like, I get it. We're talking about 2 different quarterbacks. I know Tom and all that stuff, but still, that team sat down. Now, you guys didn't see anybody for a minute, dude. You guys rested your team. I would love to see. Do you remember any of that? Did you guys play? Do you remember Tom playing in the last game, or do you remember just everybody sitting out?
We've sat out multiple week 18s. Well, I should say week 17 before we had this new game on with Tom Brady.
Before we had, yeah.
We've sat out multiple week 17s, and all I vaguely remember is a little bit of inconsistency when we do come back. And that's kind of the reason why I'm asking this question. I'm not saying that they'll go on to lose whoever they face, unless it's Joe Flacco. But I'm just asking to see, do you think that that their fire will go down a little bit, that they won't connect as much?
I think it's tough to say, man. It's very tough to say. I think you have to be extremely strict. I think you have to be extremely strict. I mean, on these guys. I mean, you have to have them practice damn near every day. I mean, you got to keep Lamar working. You got to get the reps in. And I understand practice reps are every player says this. Now, I'm not just saying this. I'm not a football player, but the football players that have came on TV and talked, they say that practice reps are way different than game reps, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but I think if you can keep them working, keep the film study going, keep them learning, keep them going, keep them working. Don't let him get, don't put the Lamborghini in the garage. Have him still practice, have him still work his ass off. And I think he'll be fine. I really think he'll be fine, man. Do I expect some hiccups? Sure. Of course. But I think if they can get that connection back and get that going, it's pretty much a wrap, dude. I think this team is bound for the Super Bowl. I like this football team, dude. It's way different. This defense is legit. This defense is real. And honestly, when we verse San Francisco and then we verse Miami, this team's really banged up. This team is really it's a banged up football team, dude. I mean, I look at our list of, if you go on our injury report list, there's a lot of players that are banged up, man. Marlon Humphrey with a calf, couldn't finish the game against Miami. Kyle Hamilton, an absolute monster. He has like a knee problem. Not even playing. Zay Flowers has a calf issue. You know what I mean? Odell Beckham's not 100%. Like, you got a lot of guys, dude, that are not 100%, man. So I think you just sit them. You got to sit them. And you know what, dude? And if it happens and the Ravens lose in the divisional round and they're not on point, okay, then I think Harbaugh's going to say, you know what, dude, I'm never going to do this again.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. As a coach, I would do the same. But I think that this football team is completely different. This football team is a lot more mature than that 2019, and Lamar is different than 2019.
Yeah.
He's way different, dude. His football mechanics, his throwing mechanics are dramatically improved than 2019. The way he's in the pocket, the way he's maneuvering in the pocket now, he's not even running that much anymore, dude. He's picking people apart.
That's what
It's
I love.
like Tom Brady, but a different way, right? Like, Tom would slide in the pocket, he would move, but Lamar would he could do whatever he wants. Like, if he wants to take off, he'll just take off if he needs to. Like, it's just every option's available for him. It's like the game has slowed down for him. So I'm excited, dude. I'm excited to see. I think we're going to find out tomorrow, or at least on Thursday. John Harbaugh did tell Jamison Hensley, who is an ESPN reporter for Baltimore, he did say, hey, man, this is not going to be a secret. I'm not keeping this a secret. We're going to let you guys know. I think Tuesday and Wednesday, 48 hours or something like that, they're going to talk to their medical staff, all the team doctors, on all the players that are their starters, and they're just going to get the full medical reports on them. If they're banged up, they're not playing. It's as simple as that.
If they're banged up, they shouldn't play. I'm with that. If they're banged up,
Yeah, if they're banged up, don't play. But like I said, man, I would rather lose knowing my team walked in there healthy versus my team going in there and like having some players that were injured during that Steelers game, and you
Yeah,
could have been like, wow, you should have just sat him. You know
it's
what
a
I mean?
it's a double-edged
I would
sword, to
rather
be honest.
lose. It really
Yeah,
is. But I think in this case, dude, I think you sit him. I think
yeah,
it's a smart thing to do. I think if you put Lamar out there, you're risking it, man. You're playing
yeah,
with fire, and it could be beneficial. Cause hey, man, he gets that rep in, he gets that sweat, gets that sweat
yeah.
going, gets in that rhythm, and then he's like carries it over right to the playoffs. But dude, nah, man, I don't. What do you
There's
think, Rob? You think he should? You think if you were a head coach of the Ravens, would you sit him or would you play him?
I think it's one of those situations that damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think
Yeah,
it's just honestly one of those. It's just there's no right call that John Harbaugh can make on this. Honestly, if you go start your players, someone gets banged up and gets injured out for the year. Oh my God! Why did you play your players? Terrible coaching decision. Blah blah blah. All this and that. And then if you sit all your players, then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my God, how dare you sit all these players? Like, look at the history. You should never sit your players." And John Harbaugh lost his game because he sat all his players, and now his players are not connecting with each other. I think it's a double-edged sword either way you look at it. To be very honest with you, I don't think there's a winning in this situation. The only way to win in this situation is by winning on in the divisional round, whoever you're going to play, and I think they will win unless they play Joe Flacco. To be honest with you, uh, but we'll get to all that when the time comes, Ray. But you know what? I want to transition back into college football. I know we lost our Instagram live stream. I'm going to get that back up here shortly. But I just want to ask you, Ray, we had one hell of a week in college football. And we have
damn
one
right.
more game left next week, Monday, when Washington is going to dog stomp Michigan. But we'll get to that later. We'll get to our predictions on that all on Friday. I gotta ask you, Ray. Draft season's coming up. Our favorite time of the year, man. This is
Oh,
what
it's
we
the best.
loved before this podcast started. Since we were in high school, man, we sat down for the combine. We watched every single combine play. We watched Dan Skippy, who was on the Lions, who the ref thought they checked in, but it was actually Taylor Decker. We watched Samaje P. Ryan, guys like these that nobody even knows about sometimes, right? But I gotta ask you, Ray. We've watched a lot of combine. We've watched a lot of quarterbacks come out. 2023 season. Who was your top 5 college football quarterbacks coming up in this NFL draft right now?
Yeah, so for me, hey man, I'm gonna give you my top 5. So for me personally, I gotta go with, obviously number 1 is gonna be Caleb Williams out of USC. I think he had a hell of a season. I
Mhm.
mean, I think he completed about 69% of his passes. He threw for about 3,633 yards, 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He
Oh,
also notched 11 rushing touchdowns. So that also shows you that not only he can throw with his arm, his dynamic as his arm is, but he can also run the ball as well. And cool thing about Caleb Williams too, for those who don't know, he also obviously played last year in 2022. He completed 67% of his passes. He threw for 4,537 yards, 42 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in 2022. So think about that how dynamic that season was in 2022. Then he goes in 2023, he still throws 5 interceptions, just like he did. Maybe the touchdowns were a little bit less, but his rushing ability was just as potent and just as deadly as well. Caleb Williams has to be number 1. He has to be number 1. There's no doubt about it.
absolutely. I think that honestly that there's just no debate to be. Drake May, I don't see anybody having Drake May over Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is a generational
No,
talent. Caleb Williams 1, Drake May 2. Are we in agreement on that also, Ray?
I believe so. I believe
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I think
This
that's easy. But
And to be
since I
honest,
went first, Rob, and I apologize. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say this is where it gets really interesting right here at this number 3 spot. Caleb Williams, Drake
Yeah,
May, 1 and 2 punch. I mean, you just know that's what's gonna come out of the draft. Number 3 is where it gets interesting, honestly. Do you
really does.
are you gonna take the greatest Michigan quarterback to ever live? Hence, that's what Jim Harbaugh said. And JJ McCarthy. Are you gonna take Michael Penix, who threw for over 400 yards in the Sugar Bowl? Are you gonna take JD McDaniels? Where are you going to go with this, Ray? I'm very curious to see.
Well, I was gonna say, Rob, would you like me to give an answer? Because I went first for Caleb Williams on the number 1. Obviously, let's be real here. Number 1 and number 2. Would you like me to go first on this one? You want to take the next one, or you want to go on this one and I'll take the next one? On 3 and 4.
You know what?
Or you want, because
I'll go ahead. I'll take 3. I'll take 3.
For sure.
Because I want to say number 3 is Michael Damn Penix Jr., baby, from Washington. And he's going to show you why he's going to be the 3rd quarterback taken out of this draft after he goes in and dog stomps those dirty Michigan fans all over the place.
Oh man, dude, I love it. I love it. I love it. Man, at number 3, it's so hard. It is really tough. I am gonna go with Jaden Daniels at number 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
That's a really close one.
He completed in this year. He completed 72% of his passes for 3,812 yards. He had 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, as well as he rushed because he's dynamic with his legs as well. He has great athleticism and good running ability. He rushed for 10 rushing touchdowns as well. I really like Jaden Daniels, man. He had a fantastic season. I will put him ahead of Michael Penix because I saw the consistency from day one. Penix had a little bit of accuracy issues. He's coming on now. He's evolving, and that's scary. I would put Jaden Daniels there. That's the only disagreement. But I could flip flop them. It's not even a big issue. Like for me, like I think I would put Penix at 4. But if you told me, hey, I'm gonna take Penix at 3, I wouldn't even be mad about it. I'd just be like, you got a great player, because I think Penix is freaking fantastic. He's amazing.
Absolutely, I'm totally with you. Honestly, man, I think number 5 will surprise you a little bit, but we'll get there. I got Jaden Daniels at number 4. Also, I just can't take away from him. Phenomenal year. I can see the case of him being at number 3, and I honestly think most people probably have him at number 3. Maybe it's just my love as a Washington Husky fan taking Michael Penix. But you know what? I think a lot of people will be saying that after we go and dismantle the Michigan Wolverines on Monday. But we'll get to that later.
Oh man, you're chirping, dude. You're talking a lot, man. I'm telling you, dude. I think you're gonna be really hurt on Monday, dude. You're gonna be really hurt.
There's one way to find out, man. There's one way to find out, I guess, right? Number 5, Ray. Who do we got at 5?
At number 5, I would really love to put JJ McCarthy at number 5, but I can't. Watching that performance against Alabama, and I get it, dude. Let's be real. Alabama has a great defense. Their defense is no joke. He went up against a hard defense. He had an okay game. It wasn't anything spectacular. I want to put Bo Nix from Oregon. I'm going to put Bo Nix from Oregon at number 5. For those who don't know his stats, I'm happy to read it to you right now. Bo Nix this year completed 77% of his passes this year for 4,508 yards, 45 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. As well, he also rushed for 6 rushing touchdowns as well. I mean, damn. Talk about efficient. He has the arm talent to make any type of throw in the NFL. I think Bo Nix has my nod at number 5. Once again, it's one of those things, like you say, with Mac Jones. You got to get him in the right system. You have to put him in the right system. I like Bo Nix at 5. I'd love to hear what your number 5 is.
Oh, man, I'm so glad we're not in the same room, man. I would kiss your forehead for that because I got Bo Nix at number 5 also. I would love to.
Oh shit!
I would
Let's
love
go.
to put JJ McCarthy there. Bo Nick's second best QBR in college last year, just balling out of his damn mind. He's just showing what a true passer can do, and I think he's going to translate that into the NFL. But before we go away from this top 5, I have to ask you, our number one consensus, along with everybody else in this whole world, unless you're living under a rock, is Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah.
The Panthers are officially the worst team in the NFL. Their pick goes to the Chicago Bears. Do the Bears move on from Justin Fields? And do they take Caleb Williams? Or do you listen to the fan base who's chanting, Justin Fields? Justin Fields. What do you do right? What do you do right here? Do you take Justin Fields, or do you were like, you know what? Get out of here, Justin Fields. We got Caleb Williams.
Brother, you gotta stick with Justin Fields. You gotta stick with him. I'm letting everybody know right effing now. Caleb Williams is gonna be in a New England jersey uniform. Mark my freaking words. Mark my freaking words. Here's the reason why. Justin Fields has proven, dude, that he is a good quarterback. Is a good quarterback. Give him a fucking chance. You know, the amount of disrespect that this guy is given reminds me of Tua. Like, the amount of disrespect. The freaking Chicago Bears have a horrible defense. Their defense is trash. Their offensive line's not even that great. Justin Fields is always running around because their offensive line can't even protect him that well. They have a horrible head coach in Matt Eberflus. I don't like him at all. They need a lot of help. And if you get Caleb Williams in there, what is Matt Eberflus going to do? Like, really, seriously, I don't think he's a great head coach at all. I think his schemes, the offensive coordinators, the defensive coordinators, their schemes are terrible. What are they going to do? They're going to be in the same situation. I'm sorry, as great as Caleb Williams is, they're going to be in the same situation, man. I mean, come on. Caleb Williams was born to be a New England Patriot. It's going to happen. Mark my words. I want to hear your take, Rob. What do you think?
Well, I just want to say, for the record, I believe Chicago Bears has the number 13. I believe Brian Pringle is number 13. Don't quote me on that. The New England Patriots has number 13 available for you, Caleb Williams. We are ready. We are going to tank for Caleb. We are going to lose. I think we're playing the Jets. I hope to God that we lose this damn football game. Please do not win this game, because we're going to be farther and farther away from Caleb Williams.
If you guys win, where would you guys go? Would you guys go out of the top 5?
As of right now, yeah, I think we will. I think as long as other teams win or lose, I'm sorry, we can be out of the top 5. I'll pull up the order here in just a second, Ray, but I believe we are sitting at number 3 currently. Behind
Arizona's 2.
Is it Arizona or is it the Commanders? Because Arizona just won against, surprisingly, the Eagles.
Oh, that's right. It is the Commanders. It is the Commanders. You have to get ahead of the Commanders, because the Commanders will take Caleb Williams.
They will, yeah. So I think we have to trade. To get there. I would be open to pairing up like maybe Matthew Judon, right? Matthew Judon, a first round pick, something else.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, dude. No, the Bears not going to take Mac Jones.
Well, they'll take him because he's got to get out of New England. I mean, there's no way Mac Jones is gonna be on the bench, dude. There's no way.
I don't think anyone's gonna take Mac Jones. I think he's just gonna get cut.
Probably will.
Yeah, I would love to see us like maybe trading away, maybe Josh Uche in that trade. You know, we have pretty good safeties. Maybe we could. I really love Kyle Duggar. Maybe I really love Jabril Peppers too, but maybe Peppers. You know, we can package some defensive players up and go after that number 1 spot. But I think it'll take at least another first round pick on top of that. And it's going to be brutal, man. Is it worth it? Is it worth it?
It is. It is. Yeah. Well, wait, I'm so confused. Do you guys have the same record? The Washington and Patriots?
Sorry, I got distracted. I got it pulled up right here. The
Because if you guys
Commanders.
have the same,
Sorry, the Commanders are 4-12 against the Cowboys, which they should lose that game. The Patriots are 4-12 against the Jets, which they should win that game, unfortunately. Cardinals, who knows with them, but they're also 4-12. And then it goes to the Giants, the Chargers, the Titans, all at 5-11.
but I want to let you know something, sir. I don't know if you heard, but in Cowboy Nation, they're thinking about resting their starters.
That would
There's
be
nothing to
huge.
play for. There's
That would
nothing
be
to play
huge.
for. They are already locked in. Like, let's be honest here, man. They're already locked in. Like, what can they do? They're not going to get, even if they won. Well, because are the well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe they have something to play for, but I think they should. I heard they're going to rest their starters.
I think that
San Francisco
division
got the
still
number
up
one.
in the air.
Yeah. Oh, their division still might be up, huh?
Yeah, I think their division is still up in the air, if I'm not mistaken.
Then damn. Then yeah. Then it's then yeah. Dude, you guys got it. Well, then yeah. Then I apologize. Then Caleb Williams is gonna be number one. I mean, and he's gonna be in Washington. Drake
Yeah.
May. Drake May to New England.
Yeah, that's possible. That's
Would you
very
be upset
possible.
with that?
No, not at all. Please don't, please forgive me for my tone. I would be absolutely ecstatic for Drake, man. But for me, I feel like if you can't get Caleb Williams, you might disagree. Most likely you will disagree with me on this. But I think I would personally, if you can't get Caleb Williams, and if you have the number 3 pick, and you might not even get Drake May, I would personally want the Patriots to trade down. I would personally want them to trade down. And if they do not trade down, they have to take Marvin Harrison Jr. right there.
I was just gonna say. I mean, I don't even know why you would want to trade down. Why not just get the best wide receiver? He might be the one of the greatest wide receivers. He could be a Hall of Famer. I mean, I think this kid is that good, dude.
Because unfortunately, Ray, I grew up a New England Patriots fan, and I'm used to us trading back down and down and down and keep going until the 5th and 6th round, where some guy named Tom Brady or DeMario Douglas or Wes Welker or Julian Edelman all pop up out of nowhere. We don't hit on the first round. If Marvin Harrison wants to come and ruin his receiving his career, by all means, come to New England, man. This is the place where receivers come to die.
You guys got to change the narrative. You got to change the narrative, man.
And
I
who
think
better
Bill
than Marvin
Belichick.
Harrison?
Who better than Marvin Harrison? And I think Bill Belichick's going to get his head up out of his ass if he comes back. He's got to make changes. He has to make changes to the offense, and I think he will.
Yeah, but going back to the question, right? I think the Chicago Bears would be. I don't think they should get rid of Justin Fields, man, because I was okay. I know we're reaching an hour and a half, and we'll end it off after this. But I've been skeptical for Lamar for how many years now, right? Since he stepped onto the field, right? I've been skeptical on Lamar since before he was even drafted, before he was a Baltimore Raven. I was always skeptical on Lamar, but you haven't been. You stayed there for Lamar on his bad times to his good times. And Lamar Jackson has progressed, and he's just kept on going up and up and up. I'm not saying Justin Fields is going to be a Lamar Jackson, but Justin Fields is progressing in the right direction. You went and got him finally a receiver in DJ Moore, and you've seen the connection that he's had with DJ Moore. Absolutely electric. DJ Moore just blew up last week, and honestly, he needs more pieces like that around him. Darnell Mooney's not a number 2. He's not a number 3. He's a number 7, honestly. They need to get him. Chase Claypool, you dropped a 2nd round pick on him, 1st overall in the 2nd round for him last year, and I don't even think he's on the team anymore. Like, come on, you guys have to get this man some weapons, have to get him an O-line, have to get him a defense, and I really think Justin Fields can lead the Chicago Bears into the playoffs, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it's the quarterback that they need. I think they need more talent on that team, and I don't think Matt Eberflus, whatever his name is even it, to be honest with you.
Oh, he's not it. He's not at all. He needs to be fired. That guy needs to be fired immediately. They need to get somebody better.
And it's not him, and it's not all him, to be honest. I think, honestly, he stepped into a bad situation. I don't think we can ride off Matt Eberflus. I can't even say his name. To call him Matt. I don't even think you can. Eberflus. I can't even say that. He just stepped into a bad situation, honestly. I think given the chance with a better organization. I think he could have probably done better. Um, Maybe not being like an amazing coach, but I think he could have done better. But Chicago Bears, they have not been good for a really long time. They got a quarterback in place. Now let's build around him. Instead of finding the
Yeah.
quarterback, let's build around him. You saw what Baltimore did. They took a step back finally. All right, let's go get Lamar some help. Let's go draft Zay in the first. Let's go get Odell. You know what I mean? Like they finally, let's go get a speedy running back and Keith Mitchell. I know he got hurt after the year IR, but they got him these pieces to succeed. And you've seen Lamar. I think this is Lamar's best season yet. To me,
Yeah.
I think this is better than MVP Lamar. I think this is Lamar Jackson's best season. I've never called Lamar Jackson a top 5, but Lamar Jackson is playing like a top 3 quarterback right now, to be very honest with you.
I agree with everything you say, man. And so do you think that so you're kind of in agreement with me with Caleb Williams not going number 1? You think he's going to go to Washington?
I think he will go number 1, but I think whoever goes at number 1 will have to trade up from the Bears to take him number 1.
So how I have these guys going, I have obviously we have if Caleb Williams, let's say he goes to the Bears, at number 2, I think Drake Maye. I think Drake Mayne's going to go to Washington. I think with those guys gone, you're going to have to make a tough decision. Either get Jaden Daniels, because I have him at my number 3. I know you have Michael Penix at 3, but I think Jaden Daniels there because he's a dual threat. He can run it and throw. Or you get Marvin Harrison. So I'm going to say Jaden Daniels. Man. I think he might be for you guys because he is a dual threat, kind of a running back. I really like that style of football. I think that style is sustainable and it can win. And Michael Penix, I think, dude, I think JJ McCarthy is going to go ahead of him because of the Jim Harbaugh connection. So I think he's going to go to the Raiders. And I'm telling you, dude, Michael Penix, man. I think Bo Nix, unfortunately, might fall to the second. Even though I have McCarthy. I think because of Jim Harbaugh, I think he's going to stick with his quarterback, Michael Penix is going to go to the freaking Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
Tell me that isn't a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Like I said before, dude, systems make quarterbacks. Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison. Come on. Those guys, what he has now at Washington is kind of a similar thing what he has over there.
Absolutely.
And I think that guy is going to ball. I think he will have a CJ Stroud type season where he's going to ball out, dude. And you'll see it. I think out of all the quarterbacks, I think Michael Penix will probably be the best out of those guys. I think until New England finally says, hey, dude, well, it's not really New England. It's really Bill Belichick. Once Bill Belichick gets his head out of his ass and says, dude, we got to do what the Ravens did for Lamar. Get this guy some help. Get him some real-ass receivers. Get him some playmakers, dude, so he can evolve as a quarterback. And I think once New England can do that, once they can do that, Ravi, I really think you guys are going to be right back in the mix in the playoffs. But until then, it's just a wait and see, man. It's just a wait and see kind of thing. It's kind of sucky, but I think Penix is going to be a great Viking, Minnesota Viking. Yeah, I believe it. I see it, man. I see it.
I can see it. How about Patriots take first round pick, Marvin Harrison, second round? They come back, maybe trade up a few picks into the first round. The 32nd pick, we take it away from the Baltimore Ravens after they win the Super Bowl. We'll take that pick away from you guys. You guys can trade back in the second round. We'll take your pick, and one of us just throws, and I think it's me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
My screen is completely frozen. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, Marvin Harrison first round. What about Bo Nix in the second round for New England Patriots? How exciting!
That would be amazing. That would be, Ravi. That might be one of the best 1-2 draft combos we might ever see in the NFL. Yeah. I mean, if Bo Nix can become that guy, who I believe he can, If he becomes that dude for your organization with Marvin Harrison, who's already a number one, and Bill Belichick goes out and get to free agency, which you guys have a lot of money, get some more offensive linemen, maybe in the draft, also in the free agency, and also get possibly T. Higgins, possibly Mike Evans. Holy shit. What an offense you guys would have. I mean, this organization would be turned around in an instant, and it could happen. I am so excited, Robbie, for this year, man. I'm so excited to watch this draft with you. I encourage everybody to follow college football. I encourage everybody to follow the draft and I can't wait for the combine, man. I can't wait to watch it with you. I'm excited, Rob. I'm so excited, man.
Oh yeah, man. I'm extremely excited too. And honestly, what a great week we had of football, national football, college football. We're going into the last week of the regular season, and then on Monday we have the last game of college. We'll be back here on Friday, Ray, and I just can't wait for our Friday podcast. To be honest,
I can't wait. Go blue, baby.
go purple, baby! This is time I'm cheering for purple right here.
Well, we'd like to thank you guys for tuning into another edition of the Ravi and Ray podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love you guys. Peace.
Peace.